So we're down on the plot this morning, and it's been quite a while since we've done a plot tour, so I thought we'd take the opportunity while it's nice and quiet down here on a Saturday morning to give you a quick tour and update you on where we are with all the plots. So let's have a little tour. We'll stop down here at the bottom of plot 35A. We've got the polytunnel guttering in now, and we've now got an extra water barrel down here. So now we've got 2 for 600 litres of water storage for the little polytunnel. Let's have a quick look round into the little brusca cage. This is all pretty much cleared out. It's still got a few bit of purple sprouting broccoli down in here. It's all looking a bit weathered and stuff like that, but it's still getting a little bit of broccoli off of that, so we'll have that off later. And into the small polytunnel. Now in here we've redone all the beds in here. We had some spare wood, so we actually redone all of these and put all new beds in with some spare pallet wood that we had, and we've got the irrigation pipes in here, and we're waiting to plumb in the irrigation lines. We haven't got any dripper feeds yet, we've just got the main lines in. So that's the small polytunnel, and that's all up and ready for when we need to plant. Down here at the bottom, that's our nicely trimmed apple tree. Down here, this is our comfrey bed, so the comfrey will come up through there, and we've got a little bit of rhubarb just coming up through there. And down here's the other rhubarb, and that's starting to sprout up, so we might put a bucket over that to actually get it all forced early. And into the main part of the plot, and we've got all the beds with hoops on and all the beds ready for planting up. And you just need to clear out these and refresh these little cold frames for when we want to use them. Haven't had opportunity yet to paint the shed or the beds. We've not had a long enough period of nice weather to actually do that. So let's go into the fruit cage. So into the fruit cage, this is our loganberry, and I forgot that I actually planted these little crocuses in here, and they've all started to come up. So I forgot all about those. There's our raspberries, our honeyberries, and our blueberries, and our grapevine, all trimmed back nicely. Down through here we've got our blackberries, our bush blackberries, and in our previous video showed us our little pear tree, not pear tree, cherry tree that we've all trained up to go along these little lines. So that's all looking good in the fruit cage, and that's all ready. Again, just need to get some paint on these beds, but we've not had it dry enough. Out through from plot 35A, we've got a sign up. Got all our composters in place down here, and then round the back is our polytunnel greenhouse and our new sign for plot 35B. So let's go round and into the polytunnel. As I say, we've got all the guttering on, and that's working really effectively. We've got a little bed round the back here of the shed. That's going to have some sweet peas in it. This is our strawberry bed. Looking a bit lacklustre at the moment, but I'm sure they'll all pick up once we get a bit of heat. And into our new polytunnel. And in here we've got all the beds in. In the middle here, this is where we're going to put our pak choy and lettuce to start with and get them going. We've got all our beds all in place, and we've got our main supply lines for our irrigation system in here. We haven't put any other dripper feeds on yet. Over here we've put in a crimson seedless grapevine, and over here we have a kiwi plant, so we'll see how that goes. The idea is to train these up and across and all across this side and across the top there, and so we have a grapevine on this side, kiwi on this side, so we'll see how that goes. Down the end here we've still got our workbench and our potting bench is a bit cluttered up at the moment. We've got our greenhouse opener here, which we need to fit at some point. And over here we made up a nice little shelving unit for storing all our stuff. And what we've also been doing is down the bottom here, I've been experimenting with all our covers and sheets and bits. Once we've dried and cleaned these, we've been putting them in these vacuum bags for storage, because they take up so much room. So it seems to work quite well. So we've got all our vacuum packed sheeting down here, ready for the new year, and we need it. And still got a couple of bags of wood and scrap to get rid of. But yeah, so this is the polytunnel, and we should get some good growth in here this year. So it's all looking good, and it's all pretty much ready, apart from got to finish off the irrigation and get some of those pak choi that we've got growing at home, showed you in the last video, into this middle bed so we can grow some early veg. The other thing we've done is we got some spare guttering and bits and brackets. We put mounted these little guttering pieces on the side rail. Now the idea behind this is that we will put fill these with soil and put our peas and beans in here, and I'm hoping that with the peas and beans in these guttering pieces, it might be enough to actually stop the mice getting up to them and eating the peas and the beans. If that's not successful, what we'll do is we'll just get those gutterings and we'll just hang them with a bit of rope off the top rail so they're suspended. But I'm hoping that actually putting those bits of guttering round on the side rail, that'll be enough to actually keep the mice off them. So we'll have a go at that in the next few weeks. So out into the main plot, got a couple of buckets of bulbs there that we planted up a while ago. We've now expanded. Down here is our buckets with all our nettle and comfrey feed in. We've now expanded to 4 barrels on the side here, so that's another 800, and we've got the 2 barrels on the side of the shed there, so that's another 2. So we've got 3 down there, 4, 5, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus our 1,000 litre tank, so that gets us up to 280. There's another barrel in the greenhouse over here, which gives us about 3,000 litres of water. So that's all going along, and if we're looking here, we've already filled 3 barrels, and we're pretty much getting full on the last barrel. So but then the pipe goes all the way down, so the spillover goes all the way down the pipe here, go around the back here into a piece of guttering that just, once it's all full, it will just run off to the side of the plot. And at the moment we've got the greenhouse running off into a drainage pipe rather than into the IBC tank, because the IBC tank is full. And we don't want it all spilling over the IBC tank and washing away the base for the IBC tank. Down here we've got our little wormery. Now it's not got anything in it at the moment. We had it at home for quite a while, and it was just like not used, so there's no worms in it or anything else. But once the weather heats up a little bit, we'll get some new worms, some new bedding in there, and then we can use that for our wormery. And then we should be able to get from down the bottom here. So the way the wormery works is that, let me take the brick off, is it's got various different trays in there, and you start off with the bottom and you put the worms and everything in the bottom with some bedding and some soil, put some stuff and compost and material, some food waste on the top, and then as you build it up, they'll move from the bottom layer into the next layer, into the next layer, and then once they've moved out from the bottom layer, you can take that off and you can actually use the compost that's in there and then put that one back on the top. And then in the meantime, all the liquid and everything else will collect in the bottom part, and then we'll tap that off as a nice liquid feed. So come around here, this is where we're going to have our potato buckets this year. Still need to work out what to do with those 2 tyres, but we'll put all our buckets in there. We get about, I think we've counted it up, it's like 3 by 8, so we're at about 24 buckets in there. Over here, these are the 2 beds we put some manure in, some green manure. So the green manure, as I say, it's starting to grow. It's starting to grow now. To be fair, it's not been that successful because we put it in really, really late. If you've been watching the videos, it was quite late in the season when we built these beds. It was probably, just trying to think, it was probably sort of late October, early November by the time we got this green manure in, which is a little bit too late, but it seems to be taking off now. So we're next few weeks, once that starts to grow up and just before we're ready to plant, a few weeks before we're ready to plant, we'll just like sort of hoe all that in, cut all that down and hoe all that in, and that will give some good nutrients to the soil. So this one was done quite well. These ones over here, not really done anything, and I think, as I say, it was just went in too late really. So again, we'll just hoe that over and dig anything that's grown in. Over on the onion bed, they're looking a bit limp this morning, but we've got all our onions in. There's a bit of a weeding to do in there, so we need to get in there and hoik out some of the weeds. As I say, we've got a few gaps here, and that was where they all got dug up by the something or other, badgers or foxes or something or other, but we've got a few more to put in. And again, down here, a bit more weeding to do in this bed, just to clear all that stuff out. So, and then this is the down the far end here is the garlics, and they're all looking there. They're looking quite browned off at the moment. I think it's a combination of wet weather we've been having and the cold and stuff, but I'm sure they'll be fine, and they'll all recover nicely. In this bed down here, we have this mystery plant growing. Now, I'm not sure what it is. I think, my thinking is, if you've got an idea what this might be, a nice close up of the leaf there, I think it may well be a Jerusalem artichoke that we actually was in the ground below these beds from which we didn't get out. So what we're going to do is we might actually just leave that in place and see what it grows into. If you've got any ideas of what it is, as I say, not really sure. It looks like an artichoke to me, but it may be something else, maybe just like a massive weed. But if you've got any ideas of what this is, or can confirm what this actually is, do let me know. On now into the greenhouse. So in the greenhouse, we've now got this all set up. We've got our trays ready. It's a bit of clearing up still to do on these side shelves. We've got a load of trays up here, all our trays up through here. A few blackberry sticks, still waiting to see if they actually grow into anything. And in here also we've got another tank which we've filled up with water. Now this acts as a bit of a heat sink. So the idea is that we've got water in here so we can use it for irrigation and watering everything, but also the idea is that during the day this tank will heat up, the water in this will heat up, and then it will slowly release the heat back into the greenhouse in the evening. So that sort of just will mean that the actual temperature in here doesn't dip quite as low. But in our next video we'll be looking at the temperature gauges and showing you a full chart of how the temperature's been in the greenhouse and the polytunnel and outside, and how that all compares. So you can actually see how cold or warm a greenhouse stays and a polytunnel stays when it's really cold outside, and see if you actually what sort of frost protection you need in a greenhouse or a polytunnel, because as I say, we've got temperature sensors dotted all around the plot, in the shed, in the polytunnels, outside, and we'll get the data off of those all the time, and we'll be charting that and showing you exactly what happens in a greenhouse and a polytunnel when it gets freezing cold outside, and also during the day when it's nice and sunny, how warm they get. So that's us all ready. Basically we're ready for the season. There's a few little extra jobs still left to do. We've got to finish doing the irrigation systems in the 2 polytunnels, so we've got the little dripper feeds to put in, but we've got the main lines in, and then we've got to plumb the pumps actually in. So the pump for this polytunnel will actually just go out of these barrels, or take it through the side of the side rail and into there, and it will just pump water out of these. Then I've got some little siphon hoses which I need to try out, so that I can put a siphon hose from this barrel into that one, so that means we've got at least 2 barrels of water, because obviously they're joined at the top. So once I didn't want to join them at the bottom, because I didn't want to get a disaster where if we join them at the bottom, we've got like 800 litres of water here, and we got a failure on one of the hoses at the bottom. That would mean there'd be like 800 litres of water that's flooding across the plot. But I'm hoping we got some little siphon hoses that we can connect from one of the barrels to the other, which means that we'll have at least 400 litres of water, which is more than enough if you're going away for a week or two, for the irrigation system to carry on working in the polytunnels. So we've got the irrigation to do, still got all the painting and everything else to do on the shed and the beds, because we're just waiting for a prolonged period, and we need enough dry days when it's actually going to be dry enough for the wood to dry out fully, so that we can actually paint that up. But we've got all our planting in. We're starting to do our planting at home and getting our seedlings up and ready. So that is where we are. We're pretty much up and ready. We're end of February. We're pretty much ready for the new season, with a few little odd bits and pieces and jobs to do in terms of getting final things ready. And we're ready for a good and hopefully successful growing season. So that's our plot tour for February. So you can see we were counting up the number of beds actually. The other day we were having a quiz at home where we were asking questions of each other. And one of the things that we wanted to add was how many beds do we have at the allotment? And I think when we counted them up, we had about 35 beds. So surprising how they all accumulate up. So this is old plot, over there is new plot, and we're all ready for the new season. So catch me again next time. Next time, as I say, we'll be talking about these temperature sensors, and we'll be looking at the temperature graphs of whether a greenhouse on polytunnel do stay any warmer in the evenings and at night, and how warm they get during the day. So until then, cheerio.